Hey everybody, this is Tyson.
Dan Logan.
And you're listening to Dad, Bods, and Beards podcast, a show that gives you a fresh and real look into being a father, husband, and sexy as all can be.
For people who want to have a good time, laugh, and be uplifted, thank you for subscribing and listening. Now for the show. So, how like, I've seen your text messages about, like, they're always coming in at like 11 o'clock. Oh, I'm doing my last workout, guys.
It's true though.
Yeah, I know.
Because I get everything done, I work, and then
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden at 10, 8 o'clock or 9, 10 o'clock, I decide I better go work out.
We're on day what? What are we
13?
on? Day 13.
And I haven't done my second workout, so after we're done with the live that we do, I'll drive home, I'll change, and I'm going to go work out.
See, I'm done with the workouts
Nice.
already for today. I've got to read, and I got to finish some water. But, like, it ebbs and flows. Some days I'm like, I've, like, realized I have so many of the freaking Kirkland water bottle packets. Because during COVID, I freaked out and just bought water. Like, I bought a ton of water. Like, I have... At one point, I had like 52 cases of water
Holy cow.
in my food storage. So my wife's like, now that they've been there for so long, like the bottles are like starting to get all like, so she's like, you should probably start drinking those. So if I drink 8 of those in a day, that's just over a gallon.
Oh, okay.
That's easier than carrying around a gallon jug. That's like
Yeah,
super
see,
daunting.
I do these liters. I drink 4 of those a day.
Yeah. So some days it'll be like, I'm so hot. Well, it's at work because you can see my freaking farmer's tan. Like I'm just roasting outside. It's like I've drinking a gallon by 2 o'clock, so it's not as bad. But there's some days where it's like I sat on the couch at like 11:30 at night, like chugging a half gallon of water, like burping and like with a stomach ache. Like, how is this beneficial? I'm getting sick.
No, so I will. So Candace goes and works out with me, and so does Porter. And
That's cool.
as I'm walking out of the gym, I'm sloshy. Like you hear my stomach every step.
Just
Work.
You're like a big fuel tanker on the freeway. Like,
And
just
then
sloshing.
unfortunately, I have to get up like 3 or 4 times to go pee because I'm just like, ugh.
See, even though I'm drinking this much water, I still sleep through the whole night. I don't have to get up and pee.
Yeah. Probably because you don't drink at 11 o'clock at night, half a gallon. Right before
Well,
you
see,
go.
I'm doing the intermittent fasting along with the calorie deficit.
Okay.
That's my diet. So like, I cut out like soda. Other than like, I will have like a Dr. Pepper Zero or Diet Dr. Pepper, right? Because it's 0 calories, 0 sugar, yada yada yada. But I don't like them very much, so I like might have like a can with like dinner.
Fair enough.
So like I'm doing the calorie deficit. I'm only doing 2,000 calories a day, which is kind of drastic, but it's working for me so far. And I'm not eating after 7 p.m. So I go 12 hours, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I don't eat. I will drink some water, but I don't eat. So I don't know. That's kind of like calorie deficit, intermittent fasting. And it's working, but it's like in the morning, I'm so hungry and I'm so cranky. It's like, and I got to pee.
Dude, I don't know. I've really been enjoying this. I take for lunch, I bring lunch to work, and then I simply just walk for 45 minutes outside for my lunch break. Now that it's getting warm, I'm like, maybe I need to bring an extra change of shirts.
Carrying deodorant.
Carrying some deodorant and some cologne. I was like, sorry, guys. No, but then at night I've been working out, and I've really been enjoying working, going to the gym and actually lifting weights. It's something that I haven't done in a long time.
See, yeah.
And I can, like, the scale finally broke today. Like, I started out really heavy, and I've lost about 15 pounds now.
15? Mm-hmm. 15? Dude, I was just talking the other day, and I thought you said it like barely had moved.
No, I gained 0.2 pounds.
And then all of a sudden, was your scale broken? And all of a sudden it was like, oh crap, I worked now.
Dude, I weighed, and I'm like, I haven't been this low in years.
That's awesome.
So
you think you just like lost a crap ton of like water weight and other stuff like all of a sudden?
just really large bowel movement.
Just Candace, get the plunger.
It keeps going.
Dude, that's freaking awesome.
A triple flusher.
15 pounds?
15 pounds.
Dude, that's freaking killer. Yeah, I'm down.
And I've been doing the sauna every day too.
See, I don't have a gym membership, but I want I want to get one because I want to do the sauna.
Dude, the sauna's amazing.
So yeah, because I'm down 11, and I probably could do better because I'm just doing like.
And just to reiterate, we're on day 13, so everyone knows we're on day 13.
Oh yeah, I don't think we even said. Well, I mean, everyone knows we're doing 75 hard, but like, dude, it's hard. They don't call it like 75. Not that bad. Like,
to be honest with you, it's the
it's the mental.
It's the reading that annoys me because I'm like, I have so much other things to do that to take time to read for 10 pages.
Well, to me, it's like. So I enjoyed reading. I was like a fictional reader when I was younger, and I enjoy the book that I'm reading now. But it's like when you are like, oh, like wanting to read versus like having to read is different.
Oh, okay.
Right?
But we're going to change subjects real quick. How do you like taking a picture every morning
of
you without your shirt on?
See, I do it at night.
Dude, I hate it.
I do it at night. I probably should switch to doing it in the morning.
Just keep up with whatever you're doing, and so it's always the same. But
because you don't notice a difference because you're looking at it every single day. You're looking at yourself every single day. I don't know with being a bigger guy that I'm going to notice an 11-pound difference because it's like you little bit. It's like letting air out of a balloon. Like it's all shrinking at once, not just like one area, right? So I don't love it. So it's like. And I'm paranoid, right? Like my wife has the passcode to my phone. Like I don't ever like, here, look at this picture and hand my phone to somebody because everybody swipes. So all of my like progress selfies, they're in like maybe I shouldn't tell you where they are. They're in the hidden folder on because your iPhone you can do a hidden.
Yeah.
So it's just like a bunch of pink Jello looking photos with like a farmer's tan.
So how's your week been since last time we talked?
I mean, the 75 hard thing, that's been good. I mean, I feel like I'm on an upswing this week because it's nice to see the scale moving. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it not just be water weight because I'm drinking a ton of water.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you're not going to the bathroom as much as you
were. And it's like, and I feel like less bloated. I feel like I have a little more energy. I still feel cranky because it's like sugar withdrawals, like probably like super fatty, And then there's the whole emotional side because I'm an emotional eater. That's been rough, right? But it's been a week from hell with work.
Oh, why?
So we had some changes coming, right? So like one of these guys that we had worked with us for a while, he used to be a driver for me at the trucking company I used to help run.
Okay.
And before that, he and I were just drivers together. So I've known him for a few years. He was working with my brother before I came over. And he ended up putting his notice, and he went to go work somewhere else, which was fine. But he was kind of our only other guy that could drive a truck. So now it's until I hire a new truck driver, I have to drive
everything,
the truck, and 90% of my job is driving my pickup between jobs. Now I have to jump in the semi. That it's never a quick thing, and then our like office manager / HR / estimator, like she kind of wears a lot of hats. Mm-hmm. She was kind of on her way out, and we knew it was happening. She gave her like 1 month notice, which she was on the management team. She was salary, so that's going to free up a lot of payroll. But it's going to add some more workload. And then the icing on the freaking cake was our head foreman, like guy who's been with the company since it started. He put on his 2-week notice.
Oh, why? Why is all these people?
He's going to go into business for himself.
Oh,
his dad is investing in him, helping him buy his first machine, his own pickup truck. So it's like you're happy for the guy.
Yeah.
But you're like he was our best guy. Like he was in the brand new, stupid expensive giant excavator. He dug the big holes. He was somebody that we literally didn't even have to worry about. Like he was not an employee in my mind. He was like,
partner,
like way up there. Like he was somebody that I would call and ask questions to because he's been doing it for so long. And then on top of all of that, this one didn't hurt, but it was more like a major annoyance as we had this guy. And he's probably going to listen, and I really don't care because he follows me on TikTok. We're about the same age. He's not a bad guy, but he's got a terrible attitude. He was one of our just general labor hands. Like he was a helper to the foreman, he had a very expectant attitude. He expected the world, and he was a perpetual victim. And I don't work well with that.
Yeah.
Right? He sent a F it, whatever, I quit text when he was supposed to be at work.
Oh, wow.
And of course, my brother, being the professional, like being business, like he's like, okay, thanks for your help. Appreciate your time. Best of luck. And I'm just like internal, like fury and like rage. And like, it blows my mind that somebody in their 30s and wanting to progress in life and in their career, that's the thought you thought that was your best response, was to burn a bridge like a child on your way out when the company has like provided you a free truck. He's not somebody that we provided a truck to because his job required it. He couldn't afford one at a time, and so we gave him like just the old 1998 Ford F-150 shop truck.
Yeah. Still
Free to use. But then he was like, I need a fuel card. I need this. But it's like, you're driving a free truck, free insurance, and you're using it as your personal vehicle. And he just expected the world, perpetual victim. And it infuriated me. And so it's like, that's maybe something I need to learn from a management perspective. But I mean, I've managed truck drivers before, but like that was like good. I really hope your new company works out, because there's no way in hell you're going to be able to come back here.
Yeah, after that.
Because you just burn that bridge to the ground, dude. So I don't know how. I mean, you own 2 of your own businesses, Copper John's Beard Company and then the barbershop. And you've had a couple of interesting situations, I'm sure, with some employees, right?
Several. Yeah.
The ones you have now are amazing. I love the
Yes.
barbers you have now. And I don't know if you want to name any names, but like
I'm not going to name any names.
I was going to ask you about this. You probably know the situation I'm talking about with the individual that helped kick it all off for you. How has that affected you, if at all, like going forward with like?
So she was an amazing at the beginning. Like, she was gung ho, all this kind of stuff. And I gave her a lot of leeway, a lot of latitude to be able to implement the things that she thought needed to be done at the barbershop. And I'm like, yeah, let's try it. Because I'm that person that knows that I don't know everything. And I know that there's a lot of good ideas that come out of other people besides me. I get that. And so I will always use everyone's ideas that will be the betterment of me, my company, my family, and of each other. And so she came out with these amazing ideas. I'm like, yeah, if it works, great. If not, no harm, no foul. And it got to the point where she was just always telling me how bad I am. She wouldn't talk to me. She's my manager, and she wouldn't talk to me for 2 weeks. She would...
Wait, she like gave you like the cold shoulder?
100%.
How do you even operate?
I would show up and have a meeting, and she would just leave. All of a sudden, she would schedule herself for working for 3 to 4 hours instead of for the 8-hour shift that she was supposed to do. All this kind of stuff, and it got to the point where I'm like, hey, I'm a nice guy, which is I really am. I feel like I am, but I can't do this anymore. And so I went and talked to her, and I'm like, you were obviously not happy. I'm not happy. We can't do this anymore. And we left on good terms, and I haven't spoken to her since, and I don't plan on it. Wish her the best of luck.
Which was weird because she's...
Dude, I lost sleep over it and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Just because she... I really care for her. Like, she was an amazing person, but just our personalities clashed to the point where she thought she owned the business.
And that's the thing I wanted to add. That's the reason why I asked you that. Is so it's like I've worked with my brother at 4 different companies now through my adult career, and it's like just by chance, right? And some instances because they had an opening, he saw that I'd fit that opening. Now, before it was a lot of like worked together, and then I worked for him when he owned part of the trucking company, and then he brought me in now. And now I'm at like a small percentage partner level ish with him. He's the primary majority leader. I'm going to be taking over a small percentage of it. But one thing I see is that there's so many employees that I feel like we're like losing this like respect for the owner or for the boss or for the guy in control, the guy who's holding all the liability. It's like I don't know if it's just society, but it blows my mind how many guys are just like they think that they don't have to answer to the person who writes the paycheck, or that they have the ability to be they're allowed to be disrespectful.
Yeah, and so like I said, to me, so I talked to another gentleman that in my neighborhood. He's a teacher,
Yeah.
a vice principal, all that kind of stuff for high school. And I asked him, I'm like, so how do you manage your classroom? Because in my mind, I'm like, these employees are. I try to be kind to them. I try to provide. Like I'll give them drinks. I give them pizza. I give them sandwiches. I go take them out on like this coming. Is it 27th this week?
I don't know.
Yes.
Dude. I forget.
So I'm going to be taking them to Wingnuts, and then we're going to go bowling as a little
Nice.
company. I'm taking them to Topgolf and stuff, and so I do my best so that we stay close, that we have a good vibe at the barbershop and at Copper John's, all that kind of stuff. That's my goal. But I asked him, I'm like, I understand that the company is not like your classroom, but what do you do so that your students respect you and they don't walk all over you? And he's like, I scare the crap out of them at the beginning of the year. And he's like, I come in with this monster mustache, and I'm just like all up in there, but just crazy. He's like, then I lighten up.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm not going to do that. It's too late for that. But no, I've just learned that it's the quality of people that you bring in. Not that the first employee was not quality. It's just that we didn't vibe well, and she just really she took it to the point where she thought she owned the company. Where I'm like, no,
Yes.
I'm paying you lots of money. Like for a barber who didn't want to cut hair, who just wanted to manage, I paid her a lot, and I let that go. And it just couldn't work anymore because she's like, nope, we're doing this and this. I'm like, nope, we're not doing this.
So I think it's a fine line because like society has changed in a positive way in like the workforce, which I understand. Like, like I think that you should be allowed to speak to your boss, to your employer, to your supervisor, and like be heard, be listened to. Like,
I think
like
it's vital. I think
yeah, like you should be able
have
to, like 100% agree that you should be able to express concerns, but at the same time, you also have to understand that if your name is not the one on the the paper for like my brother's got half of his like more than half of his house tied up in his company. So if the company goes under, he loses his house and his property and all. But that's the thing is some of these guys nowadays. I'm not saying guys at our company. It's just this one guy in general. Like it's just the attitude makes me feel like you don't get it. Like you don't get it, and this is unfortunately why you're going to maintain this level for a really long time until you do get it. Is that it's not about you, because at the end of the day, it's the reason that they started the company is to provide a livelihood for them and their family, and he's providing you an income. My brother treats these guys as well as he can, given the economy and the worst freaking winter we had ever.
Yeah.
But there's just some guys that I've noticed, and then thankfully both of them are not here anymore, that are just, it's expectant, and it's like, I've told my brother, like, dude, I've known you for 33 freaking years. Like, you can't be everybody's friend. I know you're afraid to lose people if you put your foot down. I was like, but you let people walk all over you, and they're going to just, that's going to be the norm.
100%.
And people just assume, this is the funny thing, people assume because you own a business that you just have money.
Oh, dude,
It's like the exact opposite is true. When you have a business, you have no money.
No, there's a gentleman, and I bless his heart. He is an amazing person. I have no problem with him or anything like that. But he's asked for money several times, and I've been able to help a little. But then he just said, "Hey, I'm not going to be your affiliate unless you give me $1,500, because I need to pay my house payment and all this." I'm like,
We get a job.
it's just like I was shocked. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I personally do not have $1,500 to give you, and we're only 3 years old and we're still growing and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, and that's not how affiliates work. Affiliates are, you work hard, you influence people, and then because you like the product, you're a
contractor. Like you're not.
I'm just like, I'm sorry, man.
And
he, bless his heart, like I said, he's a wonderful person. But to get back to the employees, Gary Vee. So I'm a huge proponent of Gary Vee. I really like Gary Vee. I listen to him, and I've actually listened to his management style and like an open doors. Like you should be talking to every employee. Open door, every door, and give them time. Like say, hey, today I'm going to talk to you for 20 minutes. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Tell me your goals. Because, I might have an employee at Copper John's that wants to do something else. And I might have a barber who wants to do something else. And so I'm like, so what do we do here? What do we here? And then how can we make it so that you exceed and excel in this position? Or if you want to be in a different position, how do we get you there? because not necessarily everyone wants to be a barber for the rest of their life, but they want to grow up and start being a salesman or something else within the beard company. Let's do it. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Because you can help me, because I know you're a good personality. I know you work hard. So let's figure this out so that you can provide not only income for me, but income for yourself and your family. Because I want 100 employees by 2030. It's
Wow.
been a goal of mine since the beginning of time. I want 100 employees by 2030, but I want them livable income jobs.
Across both companies. That's cool.
So my goal is to have 5 barbershops by then, and that will be providing that'll be about 40 jobs. And then by 2030, I want to be able to have 60 to 100 jobs at the beer company too.
That's cool. And see, that's what people don't understand, I think, is that. So I very vividly remember when my brother was starting his construction company. He said and his partner at the time, he said one of the reasons why he and I want to start this is we want to have the financial ability to help people
That's us.
and provide income for families. And if you've met my brother, you know that he has the best of intentions. He's a people pleaser. He's a really nice guy. He's really level-headed. But if you get him worked up, he can get there. And he got there this week. I could tell how much this was really taxing on him this week. So, of course, as being his right-hand man and wanting to be, I'll be the last guy to leave if this company goes ever to go under.
Yeah.
Because I believe in him. I believe in the company. But it's like we're in a really weird growing stage. But people just assume that employers are only ever out for themselves, so that there's no other care besides your income or just payroll. Of like, if people understood, like, and I was talking to them about this yesterday, if they understood not just licensing and insurance and like permits, like you have a lease, you have all of these other major overhead expenses, right? Like we have massive equipment and truck payments.
Dude, and taxes are stupid.
Like, dude, he and I have gone over some of the numbers. Like we have 3 massive excavators, 1 smaller one, 2 mini ones, 2 skid steers, a bunch of pickup trucks. Like that blows my mind. Like the millions of dollars just in assets, and it's like people are like, I will never fault somebody for wanting to do something better for themselves or for their family.
Absolutely.
But like if you don't do it in a professional manner, like you lose all my respect. Like you and I don't jive on the attitude department. I think you are a perpetual victim and you whine a lot. Whatever, that's your personality. It really doesn't bother me. You say F it, and then you make this big Facebook post pretty much, pissing in my brother's face.
Ouch. After you gave him a truck.
That's what I'm just saying, like buddy, and it's like you will not be missed. Like, I'll put it nicely. Like, I know you think that you're leaving us in a tight spot, but you're not. Like you are, unfortunately, you're replaceable. On the other hand, our lead foreman who is kind of leaving, that one's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And like that's going to put us in a position where we've got to make some changes. But see, the difference is he's like, hey, thank you so much for the opportunities. I'm starting my own company. I'm going to finish this job before I go.
Yeah.
So it's just the contrast. Entry-level guy, perpetual victim, constantly complaining, sends a F it, I quit when he's supposed to be at work. High-level guy, on salary, very reliable, trustworthy guy. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm starting my own business. I will finish this job and leave you in as little of a tight spot as I can. And so it's like, I just feel like that's the great divide in my generation, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm the generation just below yours, is that there's those of us that still kind of operate at a professional level, and then there's this perpetual victim, everything should be handed to me. Wah wah. To put it lightly.
And so let's talk about that. So I have 5 barbers, and each individual barber has a different personality. They grew up differently, all this kind of stuff. And I'm not being sarcastic. I love every one of them. They are amazing. I'm like, no joke. Like I want them to work for me forever.
It's a good group of girls for
They
sure.
really are. They're amazing people. So there's one lady who is very young, who's still, really figuring out life. And she is just an amazing barber, amazing person, all that kind of stuff. I tell everyone, you need to go see her. She's amazing. And she will come to me, and I've told you this, like before, just we were talking about this, I want to have an open dialogue. So obviously you go to the manager, but if you feel like the manager isn't available to you at that moment, always feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah.
So she reached out to me and we talked, and she had a valid concern. And I talked to her, I'm like, okay, this is from what I understand. And I repeated her concerns, like, am I right? It's like, yeah. It's like, okay, now let's look at this different standpoint and this different view. And I told her, have you ever thought about this? I said, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And so I try to make sure that they understand that they're heard. But then at the same time, I'm like, look, I can't give you just something different because perhaps I'm losing $3,500 a month still in the barbershop because of the lease and because, we're slow still.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I want to give you more. I want to make you guys, all this is just, unfortunately, this is how it works right now.
Yeah.
And they make good money. Out of our barbers, I would say make more than most, if not the best in the state.
And I think the fact of the matter is that if something doesn't work for you, go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Go do something else. I'm not saying to anybody in your barbershop, like from my experience, right? I've been in a company where I held on for way too long. And then when I eventually did leave and I found something better, that company moved on without me.
Oh, yeah.
So at the end of the day,
replaced instantly.
So at the end of the day, so it's like it's this double-edged sword. You've got to understand that there is a threshold of which your employer can allow you to operate in, and he can do the best he or she can do the best they can to keep you happy within that threshold. But if you want more than that, you can't be mad that your employer can't supply that to you. You've got to do what you've got to do for your family or for you, and go find something different.
Good.
And it's
like
great.
That's great.
You can't. And you got to keep. Unless your employer is asking you to do something unethical, illegal, they're treating you badly, it's treating you poorly, they're underpaying you. There's reason. If it's just business as usual and you're not happy, don't take it personally, because that's one thing I need to learn is that my brother will keep everything professional, but then he'll talk to me about the unprofessional stuff to just kind of let things loose. But he never shows the unprofessional side. And it's something I respect.
So do you think this is something that, as businesses, they should train on, hey, this is what your job entails, this is what our expectations are. If you need something more than this is what we can do. But
I think it just comes down, like you said, it's personalities. Like the guy called my brother with his whole list of concerns, and he was just straightforward. Like, this is what we can do, and this is what we can't do. And then he responded very unprofessionally. My brother was like, well, you can go then. I'm sorry. Like, if this isn't working for you. And that's what prompted the whole, you know what, F it, I quit. And speculation is this guy oversold himself to this other company. And the bad part is, and I've seen this happen, people come back. In this industry, it's not uncommon for someone to come back to a trucking company or back to an excavation or construction company because they were there before. That bridge is gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you've lost any recommendations whatsoever. You now don't have a vehicle because we took it from you, which that was so awkward. This is where my brother and I are so different. He just tells him to drop the truck off when he gets a chance. Wow. I drove to his house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I called it because I'm over machines and trucks. That's in logistics. So I text him, when are you bringing the truck back? No response. I called him. Goes ignored. Not go straight to voicemail, ignored. The difference. Rings once, half a ring, whatever. I'm like, buddy, you live 5 minutes away.
Yeah, I'm going.
So I drove over there and he's cleaning out the truck. Didn't respond or whatever. And this is the thing this is a pure speculation. There's certain company provided like hand tools and things like that had already been removed out of the truck and replaced to the side. I'm like, you trying to keep those or what's going on? So I just started grabbing stuff that I knew was ours, putting it in my truck. Not a word was said. I didn't beat him up verbally or whatever, didn't say anything to him. But my intention was, I'm going to put some pressure on you. I know you sent this as a text because you wanted to get away without having to have any kind of interaction. I am enjoying the awkwardness, right? It is making me feel so much better of kind of like, you disrespected my brother. I'm not going to come here and cause any kind of altercation, but I'm not going to make this easy for you. And so it's like, okay, when are you bringing it back? Well, as soon as I get it cleaned out. Okay, so like what, in 15 minutes? Like, well, and I'm like, okay, bring it back. And I like grabbed all of our crap and left and put it in the back of my truck. And then I call, there's a guy that, I kid you not, he's the funniest freaking redheaded cowboy. He works for us. His name's Zeb.
Oh,
Zeb.
Zeb.
Zeb?
Okay.
That's not even the worst, not the worst. If he's listening, it's not, he knows I love him. His name is Zeb Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Zeb Christmas is his freaking legal name. Like, I don't know if he's
That's
Lloyd.
like a theater name.
Yeah, I don't know if he's Lloyd
yeah.
Christmas's brother from Dumb and Dumber, but he knows I love him. He calls me Mama June. You know who that is? You remember Honey Boo Boo,
Yeah.
the TV show?
Yeah.
That's her mom. Calls me Mama June, and he says Mama June's angry right now because Mama June's on a diet. Anyways, so I call him and I'm like, he knows about the whole, because he was on it was a group text that this guy Colin quit with, or he texted it, so everybody saw it. So I was like, oh, I just drove over to so and so's house, and he's like, oh man, he's like, what'd you do? And I was like, oh, I made it awkward as hell on purpose. And I was like, and he's just like, you need to eat a cheeseburger or something. This diet's making you angry. But anyways, not to just keep beating a dead horse, but that's where maybe I need to mature or grow up of like, I should have just let the guy bring the truck back or whatever. But the thing is just, it's a respect thing for me. Like, if you disrespect me or somebody that I care about or somebody that you should be respecting, like that's, I have a really hard time getting over that.
I don't know if that's true or not. Like, I'm not saying what you did was right or wrong. I'm just saying, like, it's your property. He quit. You bring it back.
That I've quit jobs and they walked me out.
Oh, yeah.
Or I've given notice and then they've said don't, and then they'll walk you out, because I used to be in the insurance industry. And then I had another job when I was younger that I had a company cell phone when I parted ways with them. I was dumb and I didn't keep my own cell phone. I had to give it to them on the spot.
Okay.
It was also like my company phone and phone number, but it was also my personal phone because it was part of my like just working there. And I was dumb and naive and I didn't keep another phone, my other personal phone on the side. So I was out of a job and I didn't even have a phone. But it's like, that's the way that, unfortunately, how it works. Like, you don't work here anymore, man. That's not, that truck, you should have been like, I quit. The truck is in the driveway.
Yeah.
Not like,
That's how it works.
so.
It's company property, and it's just, you can't
Yeah.
carry it around anymore. If
Anyways.
you're not part of the company, you're not insured, you're not anything like that, and it could be serious.
Well, that's where I was just like, okay, he's got a new job. Is he driving this to the new job that he's apparently starting at today? Like,
Right.
My hypotheticals were going crazy. But I'm not bitter about this at all.
No, like I said, I had a barber still out of our cash register.
No way. Already? Because
Right when we opened, it was like 3-4 weeks.
obviously she doesn't work there anymore.
I don't even think you met her.
That's so, okay, dude.
We had one barber that lasted a day. We had one barber that lasted 3 or 4 days.
How much was it? How much did they take?
$50. Nothing much. It's just, but all
I mean,
of a
it's
sudden
enough.
It's enough. Where like, okay, obviously we can't trust you. But here's the thing, though, is the barber industry. You were talking about how close the construction industry, barber industry. Everyone knows everyone. And
yeah,
because they all go to like 2 schools or 3 schools, and they all know each other. They all kind of grew up in the industry together, and everyone knows everyone. And I'm starting to get to know these people, and some of the most fantastic people, and they're professional. They have such a good skill set. I'm like, I told one owner on 24th Street, I'm like, Shandy, I'll tell her name because if you go see her, she's one of the best barbers ever. I'm like, Shandy, if you ever decide you don't want to, employ, you have a job with me instantly.
Sure.
Like, and any of your people, because all her people are amazing too. And so it's just like, and I've talked to a few people. I'm like, okay, what? Let me buy you out.
Yeah.
You just be Copper Johns in Ogden now. And, but it's just like, that's how the industry is everyone knows everyone. And so like when people call and ask us about this individual, it's like, oh, she's put you on the resume. I'm like, yep, wouldn't hire her. Why? She stole. And it's like, she stole out of your till? I'm like, absolutely. And then another person who quit, she's like, oh, I'm going to show up. And then she never showed back up after her break, her lunch break. And she brought all her stuff, her clippers and all that kind of stuff out with her during lunch, which I thought was weird. And then she never showed up. And so people called, hey, what do you think about her? She worked half a shift.
Yeah. See, that's what I like about Utah is growing up in California, Like if you call a former employer, like for like income or like just employment verification, it's like yes or no questions. You can't get into the reasons why.
Is that against the law?
I think it is. Here, I don't think. In California, you can't be like. You can't say reason.
Well, no. So for background checks, so like if, for instance, you're going and working on base at Hill Air Force Base or for the Air Force, it's a yes or no question, and it's not because they want to know why they got laid off or why they quit or anything like that. It's did they do anything in their history that would negate them having a security clearance or anything like that? So when they say, hey, is there anything possible that you wouldn't hire them for? Yes, there is.
Yeah, but see, that's as far as you can go, right? Here in Utah, to my understanding, you can be like, no, this is why they're not here anymore.
Well, even if it's not, barbers talk to each other all the time.
Yeah.
And they know each other and they know who to hire.
That's the same thing, man. Utah County, everybody knows everybody in the excavation construction industry. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean,
I'm sure everyone knows everyone in the construction company.
Yeah.
In the field.
Well, because it's like there's only so much. There's only so much crossover, but yeah, it's it's funny. So maybe a quick story before we end this episode is I had this side business a few years ago that I used to make extra money, and without getting into all the details to make it very specific to incriminate anybody or any companies, it was a food chain restaurant, and they had to have part of their cooking system professionally cleaned, and it was part of their franchisee agreement, whatever. And this one guy taught me how to do it, and then he kind of handed me a couple of stores. I grew to having about 16 of my own stores. I made $300 to $400 to $500 doing one store, and I did it every 3 months. So you get them in rotation.
Yeah.
Anyways, I ended up pulling this one guy in to work for me on the side. Nothing was legal. I wasn't insured. I wasn't bonded. Nothing. But it was all just cash on the side or whatever. But he's dumb because these one kids that were closing up, they didn't close the freaking safe. And I had like a master key. And I gave it to him because I couldn't do it that night, and he'd been doing it with me for a couple of times, so I sent him to go do it on his own. And I bought all of this equipment and spent a bunch of money at the time. Like it was $500.
Yeah.
And you're young, you're early 20s, and you got this little side gig.
So it's money.
That was a good chunk of money.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, there's freaking cameras everywhere. Anyways, they didn't shut the safe. The end of the night deposit was sitting right there. He freaking just took it. And so I get a call the next day from the guy that owns the company asking for this five-figure number of money that is missing. And he's like, there's cameras. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Anyways, I ended up working with the cops to get it back from this guy. And I didn't have to fire him because he got arrested.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he had all of my equipment locked in his truck, and they couldn't let me get it.
Oh, wow.
So it's like I had to just kind of eat it on that one. But I was so scared that I was in trouble. But at the same time, it was kind of one of those things of like, nobody really went about it the right way because nothing was like insured, bonded, contracted, licensed, or whatever. So it's like the guy couldn't come after me. He got his money back because the dummy still had the freaking deposit envelope with all of it in there. Anyways, it just was this whole situation of like, it blew my mind of like, kind of going back to your employee who took $50 out of the till. Like, you think that a company that is in the business of making money isn't going to know where their money is going?
Right.
Or like, you think that they know you're in there after hours. They know you have a key, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't know where $15,000 went. Like, I'm like, it's just, I don't know. Were you dropped on your head as a baby? But anyways.
So, needless to say, I think the theme of this podcast is...
Or this episode.
This episode is that we need to be more vigilant and more patient with our employees, but also a little bit more stern.
And see, yes, you for sure, I can see that, right? I thankfully they're not my employees, and I don't have to manage anybody. I've managed people before, so my thing is learning to butt out and let my brother manage them, and maybe just give my opinions if they're requested.
Yeah.
But my lesson that I've learned in this was kind of like, I need to take things less personally, and it's like, it's not even my name on the freaking, title yet, technically. But yeah, I think the thing that I'm taking from this is just that you can't have an expectant attitude. You're going to get what you get. And if it's not good enough, find something else or create something else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you can't play the victim. When you have that victim mentality, you're never going to go anywhere. You're always going to be miserable.
Because, I mean, look at you.
You have to change your mindset.
How many hats do you wear? Dad, husband, you have a full-time job. You are somebody else's employee. And then you own your own business with the beard care that you have a couple of people that are working with you, right? And all of that is relying on you. And then you have the barber shop.
Yeah.
I have a hard time finding sympathy for somebody that isn't willing to give the extra effort to get ahead and just wants to complain about being behind. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I got to have sympathy because you don't understand what everybody's going through. See, it's a double-edged sword, and I'm just conflicted 100% of the time, all the time. So at the end of the day, don't call me with your problems. I got plenty of my own.
Thank you for tuning in to our episode tonight of Dad Bods and Beards. Please share with your friends and your family. Like, subscribe, and don't be naked while you're listening to this.